It is now October, which means the month of September is over, and it is time for another monthly update video. Before I tell you what I did in the month of September, be sure to let me know what you did in the month of September down in the comments below. I bet you haven't seen any of the videos that I uploaded in September, and that's because I didn't upload any videos, and you may be wondering where I've been. Well, I honestly don't know where I've been, but I've just been busy pretty much, working part-time as well as taking 3 classes for college online. Even though I didn't upload any videos in September, I did post in other social medias. So if you're not following me there, be sure to do that. And all of the links for my social media accounts, such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, are down in the comments below. That way, if I don't upload any videos to my YouTube channel, you can check my other social media accounts where I probably have posted something. In case you didn't know, September is Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, and I was going to make some posts on Instagram about that, but I did only make one post, and it was at the end of September. But be sure to check that out, and I thought it was a pretty cool post. Now on to some things that I did in the month of September. I did get my van evaluation completed at Easter Seals, and they just basically looked at my van and looked at my function to see, what different adaptive tools that I needed as far as hand controls, like the push rock hand controls, the tri-pin that goes on the steering wheel, the easy lock system that goes in the floorboard to lock down your wheelchair, seat belts, and some other things that I might need. They also took measurements of my Permobil C300 power wheelchair, which is what I'm in now, and that's what I'll be driving my vehicle from because the driver's seat comes out, and then I will just drive my wheelchair up and drive from my wheelchair. That van evaluation went really well, so that's another thing checked off my list and one step closer to getting my hand controls. After my van evaluation, we left and we were going to stop at Sonic, like we did last time when we went down to Easter Seals. On our way to Sonic, we stopped at the stoplight, and then all of a sudden we heard this like crunch or kind of like a boom, like a vehicle hit another vehicle, and then about, I don't know, maybe 2 seconds later, we got hit. So the first sound that we heard was two vehicles behind us hitting the vehicle behind us, and then that pushed the vehicle behind us toward us, and then we got hit. So it was just like a big collision, and it was chain reaction pretty much. It took like 30 minutes for an officer to get there to evaluate the situation and do stuff like that. And we were really hungry, and I had to catheterize, but it all worked out. And we finally made it to Sonic, and I got one of those Chicago hot dogs again, and that was really good. And I highly suggest going to Sonic if you've never been. This is actually only my second time being there, so if you have any suggestions on what I should get there, let me know. If you remember from last month, I found out that my ROHO cushion had a hole in it, and almost 30 days later, pretty much a month later, I finally got the cushion replaced from NuMotion, and it took a really long time. I called the NuMotion in Indianapolis like 3 or 4 times. The first time somebody said they would get in contact with somebody, and then the second time I talked to like somebody different, and they pushed me through to somebody else, and that person actually knew what they were, or sounded like they knew what they were talking about. Said they would call me back like the next day. Never got a call back. So my mom actually called someone that we dealt with at NuMotion in previous years, and she ordered it pretty much right there on her own. So I don't know really what the big deal was about that. But if you are in the disability community, you have definitely heard about NuMotion being slow. And a couple years ago, or I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or so, I came up with this thing called NoMotion. So it's like new motion, but instead of the U, it's the O, no motion. and it sticks pretty good. But I did get my cushion replaced, and it came with patches in case I get another hole in it, which my first one didn't because my wheelchair was already put together and everything whenever they brought it to me at the hospital. I went to the casino for the second time since turning 21, and this time I had a little bit of luck and then I just lost it all because I don't know, I was just being stupid, but I knew that my beginner's luck was not going to work this second time going to the casino. But I did have a good time, and I found out a new poker game that I like playing, which is called Jacks or Better, and it's like video poker, and you pretty much just try to make the best hand, and it was pretty fun. I also played it for like an hour or an hour and a half, and didn't hardly lose any money at all, so I thought that was pretty cool. As far as my classes go for college, my advanced web page design, intro to Java programming, and Visual C Sharp. They are all going really well, and they're going a lot better than what I thought. And my job is going really good. Like I said, I'm working part-time, so hopefully that will turn into full-time here soon. Once I get my hand controls for my van and get my associate's degree in information technology. October 1st was the first day of bow season for deer here in Indiana, so I'm hoping this year I can get a deer with my crossbow, and I'm going to try to get it recorded on my GoPro so I can have footage for you guys. The book that I read in September was I'm Not Missing Anything by Bret Eastburn, and this guy has no arms or legs, and I actually met this guy at Camp Possibility in 2016. That was my first year going, and whenever I was having difficulty, coping with my spinal cord injury in January of 2016, which was 1 year after I got injured, I found this guy, not this guy, but somebody that didn't have any arms or legs. I found him on the internet, and his name was Nick something, I think, and he's a really cool, inspiring person. And little did I know that I would meet somebody that was similar to him like 6 months later. And so I met this guy, and he did some speaking as well as some comedy at Camp Possibility. And he gave everybody a copy of his book. So I was glad to read this, and it was a really good book. And he actually grew up in Indiana, I believe. Um, but it is a really good book, so be sure to check this out. I'm Not Missing Anything by Bret Eastburn. Alright, so that's what I did in the month of September. Be sure to let me know what you did in the month of September down in the comments below. And I always like looking down there in the comments to see what you guys are up to. And that's also, why I started these monthly update videos is for one, to me to just like track my own progress, and for two, to hear what you guys are doing, and for you guys to hear what I'm doing. So be sure to let me know what you did in the month of September down in the comments below.